Well, hello again. I'm Phil Darst, and I want to welcome you back to Cooking with Phil. If this is your first time here, glad to have you aboard. Hope you enjoy what we're going to cook today. And if you're a regular and you've already subscribed, I'm sure glad you're back again, because we've got something I think you'll like. It's a pretty simple dish. I'm kind of working on vegetables these days because I'm a vegetable lover, and I think more people would be if they knew more about them. We're going to have glazed sweet potatoes with orange in it. So I've already baked the potatoes. I put them in here last night, and I've got 2 potatoes that are already baked. So we're going to peel them shortly and put them in the skillet. And the other thing is, it's a simple orange. It's interesting. I found a peach today with a leaf, so I know it's fresh. But this is a nice juicy orange. We're going to just zest it and juice it. So we'll be over here to the counter in a minute and get started on cooking our dish for the day. See you in a minute. Well, here we are. We're ready to get started. I've got most of the ingredients in front of me. I think one of the first things, and most important to me, is ginger juice. We're going to put a little bit of that in there. I like it better than ground ginger sometimes. That's what the recipe calls for. The other thing is allspice. You can't read my handmade label very well, but I believe that's what's in there is allspice. Don't use a lot of it. Only takes 1/8 of an ounce. And nutmeg, that's something that always gives a little extra flavor, so we'll put that in there. And of course, I got some mint here. I had to buy a bunch of mint. Don't use a lot of it, but I got that today. We're only going to use a tablespoon or so with the dish, but I do think it's important because it kind of marries the orange flavor a little bit. And then again, we've got our orange that you've seen. That's a juicy orange there. We're supposed to get about 3 tablespoons out of that, and it says a teaspoon of zest. I'm going to get more than that. And of course, here's my juicer. This is an old-fashioned juicer, as you see. I've got another juicer somewhere, but I lost the business end off of it, so it doesn't work well, but this thing comes in handy. And of course, sweet potatoes. Now, there's one still wrapped in the foil. This I unwrapped it, and it's nice and fresh. I said I baked it last night. I'll peel it shortly, and I think you'll find out there's about 1.5 pounds. So that's going to serve several people with the dish we have as a side dish. So in a few minutes, I'm going to get started here and start peeling that couple potatoes and zest the lemon and put it in a skillet. So we'll see you in a few minutes. Well, we're ready to do the cooking part. So I've got a skillet here with a little bit of oil in it, and I've added all the spices in here to the orange juice. Now actually, it was a really juicy orange. I got almost 1/2 cup of orange juice out of it. I drank about 1/4 cup. Rest of it's in here with the spices you're going to see down in the bottom here. So I'm going to first add those in here. And the idea is we're going to reduce this down to a glaze. Now, again, I didn't stop with a teaspoon of zest. I think if you're going to do something, you might as well do plenty of it. So there's some more zest. And that's going to give it a nice punch. Now the other thing that I did, I always like cinnamon and orange, and I put cinnamon in here along with the other spices. And then of course one of the things that we didn't talk about earlier was brown sugar. There's 3 tablespoons of brown sugar in here that is going to help us with the glaze. I remember as a kid my mother used to make pancake syrup kind of like this, and she would use basically, I think it was probably a little bit of butter and brown sugar and water, and put it in a double boiler. And I used to get in there when she wasn't looking, and I'd sneak in. There's always a nice crusty sugar that forms on the top of that stuff when it cools down, and I'd go in there with a spoon and get some of that. Got burnt once or twice, but it was pretty good. So I'm going to reduce this. I don't know if you'll get to see the whole thing because I don't want to take a lot of your time, but it's looking like it's doing pretty well. Usually takes several minutes, 3, 4, 5 minutes. So I'm going to see if there's a hair of spices in there that we might want. I don't want to not use something. I'm a little bit frugal. I've got to use it all so we get the total flavor, because that's going to be pretty good stuff. And then I've got the mint for the top. So we'll put the mint on there according to the need as we go through this a little further. And it's starting to reduce pretty well now, getting nice and thick, and that's the idea because it's supposed to coat our sweet potatoes. I also cut the other half of that juicy lemon and put it in there. We'll probably serve that with some lime wedges. I know my neighbor next door and his wife Bobby, they like stuff that I cook, so I'll probably take some of it in that form. So we're doing pretty well now. I'm just about ready to add the sweet potatoes there in just a second. Put them in here a little bit at a time. If you excuse my fingers, I don't think they're going to hurt anything. I did wash them. So these are nice and soft. Now I told you I baked these for just about an hour, and I left them in the oven there, and they got really nice and soft. So the idea is they're going to absorb a lot of our flavors here, and we're going to come up with a pretty tasty dish, I guarantee it. I'll probably have part of it for lunch along with an avocado, and that'll be good for the day. I put in the notes some nutritional information about sweet potatoes. I eat them more than white potatoes, I think, because they have more nutrition in them. And I think if you learn to use those, you might decide they're pretty good. A lot of people don't seem to use sweet potatoes too often, but I think they're a nice treat. Now, they're going to start absorbing some of our glaze here, as you can see. And I want to coat those. That's the objective. Let this kind of boil down a little bit more. And as we go through it, I think you can see they're going to pick up a lot of that flavor that we put in there. A lot of people get sweet potatoes confused with yams because they're the same color. I found out they're not even in the same family. I did put some information in the notes down below if you're really interested in the ingredients. I don't know if they call it biology or botany of potatoes, but there's a difference. And of course, we're doing this in August, and yet I think it'd be a good addition to your Thanksgiving meal. In my family, my mother always made a nice sweet potato casserole, and again, it had a lot of brown sugar and stuff on it. It was mighty flavorful. So I think that's something that I'd like to see you add. Try it a few times and see if your guests and friends and family enjoy it as I do. Now I'm going to shut this down. I'm going to put the lid on it, let it sit for a little bit. I'm going over to the table, enhance it a little bit with the mint, and I'm going to have a bite here shortly and see how I feel about what we made today. And if it's good enough for me, I'm sure that maybe you'll like it too. So I'll see you over at the table. Bye. Well, I'm about ready to eat. We just showed you what it looks like. And it looks pretty there, but I'm going to destroy that in a minute because I'm just going to sample it here and tell you how I feel about it. I've eaten it several times. I don't know that I've done a lot different today, but I'll I'm even going to do without the avocado. It is lunchtime here. And I will taste this and tell you what I think, and I hope you'll try it, and in the comments tell me what you think. Delicious. It's usually good stuff, and that mint seems to give it a little extra kick. And then I got my orange slices there. So I'm going to eat this pretty quick. And it's about lunchtime in Sarasota. So I'll take some to my neighbor and see if they've had lunch yet. They're always very good to me. So, we're about done for the day. I hope if you enjoyed this, you'll subscribe if you haven't. And hit the bell so that you'll see what we're doing next. I got several things in store for you. I mentioned a few. Some will be a surprise. I have been concentrated on some vegetables lately because I like them, and I know a lot of other people do. So we'll try some more. But keep coming back if this is your first time. I sure hope you enjoyed it. And if you've been here before, thanks for coming back. Always enjoy having you. And I'll have another bite. And I think I've covered about everything. I'm going to say goodbye and be on my way. And hope you enjoy the rest of your day. Goodbye for now.